The following is a Hennessy Hendo production. It includes excerpts and material from my vast collection of books and general knowledge. My collection spans many centuries and millennia. I upload as I have time, but the sheer volume is just so immense. It would do the people of the world good to listen to some actual classics or educate themselves on all manner of topics from fictional books to philosophy. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Edward Bernays was a pioneering figure in the field of public relations and propaganda. Born in 1891, he was the nephew of Sigmund Freud and applied his uncle's psychoanalytic theories to mass communication and public influence. Often referred to as the father of public relations, Bernays developed techniques that leveraged psychological principles to shape public opinion, advertising, and political campaigns. His most notable works include the book Propaganda, published in 1928, which remains a cornerstone text in understanding the mechanics of influence in society. Summary and Analysis of Propaganda by Edward Bernays. Propaganda is a foundational book that explores how public opinion can be shaped by those in power, whether governments, businesses, or other institutions. Bernays openly discusses the ethical and strategic use of mass media and communication to influence public behavior and opinion. He views propaganda not as inherently negative but as a tool that can be used for both beneficial and harmful purposes. Key themes and ideas. 1. The role of the invisible government. Bernays argues that democratic societies are governed by an invisible government, composed of influential elites who understand how to manipulate public opinion. He suggests that this manipulation is necessary to maintain order in a complex society where individuals cannot make informed decisions about every issue. Quote, "The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society." 2. Engineering consent. Bernays introduces the concept of engineering consent, the process of systematically shaping public perception and acceptance of ideas, products, or policies. He emphasizes that propaganda is not inherently deceptive, rather, it aligns public opinion with specific goals. He demonstrates how consent can be manufactured through strategic communication, such as advertising campaigns, public events, and media narratives. 3. Application of psychoanalysis. Drawing from Freud's theories, Bernays highlights the importance of understanding human psychology, especially unconscious desires and fears. This knowledge allows propagandists to craft messages that resonate deeply and bypass rational scrutiny. Example: in his professional career, Bernays famously helped the tobacco industry by branding cigarettes as a symbol of women's liberation, the Torches of Freedom campaign. 4. The power of symbols and slogans. Bernays stresses the effectiveness of symbols, slogans, and emotional appeals in shaping opinions. He argues that people respond to emotionally charged symbols more than rational arguments, making them critical tools in propaganda. Example: political campaigns often use patriotic imagery and slogans to evoke loyalty and trust. 5. Media as a propaganda tool. Bernays underscores the role of mass media in disseminating propaganda. He notes that newspapers, radio, movies, and later television act as powerful vehicles for influencing public opinion on a large scale. 6. Ethics of propaganda. While Bernays acknowledges the potential for abuse, he maintains that propaganda is a neutral tool. He argues that ethical responsibility lies with those who wield it. However, critics have noted that this stance downplays the potential harm of manipulative communication. Legacy and relevance. Public relations industry. Bernays is considered one of the founders of modern public relations. His ideas have been widely adopted in advertising, political campaigning, and corporate communication. His strategies laid the groundwork for industries focused on brand management and consumer behavior. Criticism and controversy. Critics of propaganda highlight its unapologetic tone about manipulation and the implications for democratic societies. Bernays' ideas have been linked to both beneficial campaigns, e.g., health initiatives, and exploitative practices, e.g., corporate greenwashing or political disinformation. Contemporary application. The principles outlined in propaganda are highly relevant in today's media-saturated environment. Social media. algorithms, and targeted advertising represent an evolution of Bernays' concepts, making them even more pervasive and impactful. The name change, Department of War to Department of Defense in 1947, as part of the National Security Act, the U.S. Department of War was renamed the Department of Defense. This change coincided with the restructuring of the U.S. military and the establishment of the Unified National Military Establishment, which later became the Department of Defense. The renaming reflected the shift in priorities and rhetoric during the early Cold War era. From aggression to protection, the name, Department of War, carried connotations of aggression, conquest, and conflict. In contrast, Department of Defense suggested a more protective, peace-oriented mission, emphasizing safeguarding national interests rather than initiating wars. Cold War context, the post-World War II environment, marked by tensions with the Soviet Union, necessitated a focus on deterrence, defense alliances, and security, rather than overt war-making. Bernays' influence on messaging and public opinion. Bernays was a pioneer in using psychological principles and propaganda techniques to shape public attitudes. His work often focused on reframing issues to align with desired perceptions, a practice that resonates with the decision to rename the department. Language as a tool. Bernays understood that language shapes how people perceive ideas. The shift from war to defense was a classic example of reframing to evoke a more palatable and supportive public reaction. Control of public perception. Bernays advocated for the use of strategic messaging to guide democratic societies. The rebranding of the department reflected an effort to align government institutions with values that resonated with the public, such as security, peace, and protection. Legitimization of policy. By using a name like defense, policymakers could garner broader support for military expenditures and interventions by presenting them as necessary measures to prevent harm, rather than acts of aggression. Legacy of the rebranding. While the renaming of the Department of War was a practical response to geopolitical changes, it also reflects Bernays' principles of managing public opinion through strategic communication. The name, Department of Defense, helped align the U.S. military's image with the broader ideals of protecting freedom and maintaining peace, even as its activities often involved offensive strategies. In summary, while Bernays himself did not engineer this specific rebranding, the principles he championed were evident in the decision to shift the narrative from war to defense, illustrating the power of language and framing in shaping public perception. Conclusion. Edward Bernays' propaganda offers a candid and sometimes unsettling look at how opinion-shaping mechanisms work in society. It is both a manual for practitioners of influence and a cautionary tale about the power of manipulation. Bernays' insights continue to provoke debate about the ethics of persuasion and the tension between individual autonomy and societal control.
Thank you for watching. Please share the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Check out other series including 10-minute synopses or complete audiobooks on Hennessy Hendo on YouTube. Improve your vocabulary. Be more fun at parties. Increase your knowledge. Become a literary master like Hendo.